And the contracts are structured where if they become that all-star and that superstar, Alfie has a player option that he can opt out a year early to go try to sign a max with us, and the same with Jalen. And so it's kind of just doing it very methodically and with a scaffold to make sure that we can keep this team together as long as we can.
Houston Rockets, Charlotte tonight. Houston and Charlotte tonight, right at Toyota Center. Lance is going to the game with Chris Fisher from HRP. So there, he's going to be at
Should
the
be
game.
packed. I'm excited about it. The whole place being packed. That's going to be really cool.
No, the excitement for this basketball team, I think, is real in the city. I mean, now, it is a tough man. The Lakers looked good last night. That's scary because I thought they would be a good chance for one team to fall out of the play-in. But the Lakers look like they're rejuvenated. They got Dalton Connect now, and Austin Reeves and AD looked really, really good last night. And LeBron, they're going to be tough, man. It doesn't get. This is as good as the West and deep as the West has been in a long time. So it's not going to be easy. But the Rockets can make that kind of Sacramento jump this year. They can. Hopefully, Sacramento falls off and the Rockets can fall. Well,
Minnesota, I'm interested to see what happens to Minnesota getting rid of Karl Anthony Towns. We'll see. I mean, that could end up having a big impact on them. I do think Anthony Edwards is one of the most spectacular players in the league, but we'll see what that means for them. It's also one game. Hey, people try to tell you LeBron understood. Bronny is going to really add a different level of chemistry to that team. He played 3 minutes, and yet they look like a championship level team. Bronny made the difference yesterday, John. You doubted, and yet here we are.
one rebound.
Here we are.
But listen, and listen, they get rid of Karl Anthony Towns, and they give Rudy Gobert all that money yesterday.
Yeah, I'm not sure that's the play, but obviously there's something else at play there
we'll
to get rid of Karl Anthony Towns. But Houston Rockets have, I am really excited to see Reed Sheppard. Really, really excited to see Reed Sheppard because this is the first time the Texans have had a sniper at 3. It's the first time. And so I'm really excited to see that level of shooter on the Rockets squad. That's going to be something that could set this offense up into a position to be a more explosive offense. It's one thing they can get downhill on you as a transition team. And they can get downhill on you as an offensive rebounding team that can get putbacks, and you have Tari Eason and Amen Thompson that play that brand of basketball. Jalen Green has become a much better rebounder, but man, you stick a sniper out there at 3, oh my gosh! All it takes is one hot quarter, and all of a sudden, the Rockets with their defense can put teams away.
Yeah, Dell, call again. I told them that we would be calling from a 713 number, so. We'll see.
He wasn't answering Dell's call, was he?
Well, it went right to voicemail, and hopefully he'll be able to. He'll
Do you think he knew it was Dell? Because I would not.
He might have known it was Dell. I mean, if you were calling him, Lance, if you were on the board, I think he probably would have answered.
Yeah, he would have answered if I was running the board, like when I run the board.
Yeah, like when you run the board. I mean, it's different.
Yeah.
But we'll see.
I run the board.
Well, come in here and make the call. Well, because I got right to voicemail, but it looks like we got a call back, so maybe it's
okay. Here's the call back. I gave him the number, so maybe he's calling back.
Here we go.
Anyway, Tillman Fertitta, owner of your Houston Rockets, in action tonight against Charlotte, and that's a good way to start the season. I hope it is. I hope that this team it all comes together tonight. And man, you got to talk about a bunch of pieces. I think that Ime Udoka's got as tough a job trying to decide what his rotation is all season long because of all the talent that he's got this year. And joining us now is the owner of your Houston Rockets, Tillman Fertitta, right here on ESPN 97.5 and 92.5. Tillman, welcome in. We are really, really excited. I don't know do you guys feel it? I don't know how much obviously a lot of people are talking to you about the Rockets, but are you feeling the kind of love for this season that we kind of feel we're getting from the fan base as well?
Yeah, absolutely. We had a function last night with a lot of our season ticket holders and Oak Room members, and there's just a tremendous amount of excitement. And I just got on the line and was listening to what you were saying, and you know, the excitement is you have all these young guys, and you just, one of them will step up to be an all-star, and that's the difference. But what's most exciting is that when we can take some injuries, is that this year, when you look at your 14th and your 13th and your 12th and your 11th player, you know, that's like Aaron Holiday and Jeff Green and Jayshawn Tate. And these guys would be in rotations in most teams. But that's all real positive, but we need a couple of guys to step up and start on that all-star track. Because if you look at all the teams that are really, really good, they all have 2 all-stars. Mm-hmm. But we're young. We're young. They'll become all-stars. It's just, are they there yet?
Tillman Fertitta with us here on ESPN 97.5 and 92.5. So we loved the deals for Jalen and Alpi. They weren't the other guys, or 4 or 5 other guys in that draft class that got the max, the 224. You got $185 million, $106 million, a 3-year deal with Jalen, and a 5-year with both of them had player options on the last year of those deals. Talk about those deals, Tillman, and how we think they were team friendly. Do you?
I wouldn't say that they're team friendly. They were team friendly, but they're player friendly too. When you have a guy like Alpi that, you know, making, you know, it's a tremendous amount of money, $5 million, because he wasn't a top 10 pick. And now he's guaranteed $185 million over 5 years. And you know, that's pretty player friendly too. I know they're happy. Let me tell you something about these guys, and I have a tremendous amount of respect for them. They know that we have a bunch of young future stars, and they know the way that the cap is in the NBA now, that you cannot go into the apron of the tax. And that's why Steve Ballmer could not keep Paul George and send him to Philly this year, because you cannot be there. It's so punitive. And we don't want to have to get rid of a star or two of this young group. And what we're trying to sell these guys on, if everybody keeps progressing the way they're progressing, this team is going to be a championship caliber team in a few years. But if you take the pieces, any one of these pieces out of it, it won't be, most likely. And so everybody wants to stay together. They like being a part of this organization. They like living in Houston. And they all did the right thing. And they understand where we're coming from. They totally understand. And the contracts are structured where if they become that all-star and that superstar, you know, Alpi has a player option that he can opt out a year early to go try to sign a max with us, and the same with Jalen. And so it's kind of just doing it very methodically and with a scalpel to make sure that we can keep this team together as long as we can.
Yeah, and you can see from a timing of other contracts on the that are on the books now, it kind of makes sense from a timing standpoint. You can see it was crafted in such a way where it's layered and timed in the proper way so that you don't get stuck from a cap standpoint and from a maneuverability standpoint, which was something that Daryl was really good with for most of his tenure here. Tillman, I want to ask you, as somebody who lives in Houston, and Tillman Fertitta, the owner of the Houston Rockets, joins us right now. As somebody who lives in Houston and a Houston sports fan, you know, I look at – John and I have talked about the fact that the Astros kind of put out there a blueprint for how it could be done, going from good organization to really downtime to rebuilding with a young core. And it's hard not to look at the Rockets and see similarities to what the Astros did when they were on their way up. Championships are not guaranteed for anyone, but do you look at it the same way? Do you see what the Astros did and follow that and see similarities with how your team is kind of moving along?
Well, let me just say this. When it was explained to me that and I watched it before we had James Harden, we were in NBA purgatory where, you're a 7th, 8th, or 9th. If you get in the playoffs, you're immediately eliminated in the first round. We didn't want to go there again. We could have taken some players back from James Harden and been an 8th seed or not gotten in, but won 38 to 42 games. And that's just not where we want it to be. We either want to be challenging for a championship or setting yourselves up to challenge for a championship, or or be working toward the other way to be able to get there. And so, yeah, I mean, we've watched it done in the NBA, but knowing how it worked for the Astros. And remember, since I've owned the team, this is the first year that the Astros aren't in the American League Championship series. And everybody's got to understand that all you can do is set yourself up to be one of the top 2 or 3 teams in your conference and then hope for some luck. And watching the Astros, as good and as dominating as they have been and still are, in the 7 years, they only got 2 championships. And it's not only because it's so hard to win one. And so you need some luck as well as trying to do everything right. It's hard to win championships. And so all we're trying to do is the right thing, and what they've done over there has worked out tremendously, and it's surely a good model for anybody.
Tillman Fertitta with us here on ESPN 97.5 and 92.5. I saw you before the season last year, and you guys were realistic about what was going on. I think we talked about maybe 39 wins. You ended up with 41 wins, and there were a couple of losses in there that you maybe, could have been 43, could have been 44 wins. This year, is there you guys? I don't know. I mean, it's a tough West, Tillman, but it seems like the sky's the limit for this team now, and that's even realistically, it's the sky's the limit.
Well, I don't know that the sky's the limit, but I think that we're very good. You're going to see us offensively rebound unbelievably. Tari and Amen statistically are 2 of the best offensive rebounders in the league the last 2 years, and then the fact that you brought Steven Adams in. And he's the best offensive rebounder over the last 5 to 7 years. So we're going to run. We're going to get offensive rebounds. We made very few changes on this team, but the 2 changes that really are going to help are we get Tari back for the full year. He only played like 10 games last year. Amen didn't even play the whole first half of the season. He was hurt. And then you didn't have Steven Adams, and he didn't play at all last year. So having Tari, Amen, and Steven Adams are going to be huge. Plus, once again, when you have young guys, you want Alpi to take the next step. You want Jalen to play like he did the second half of the year. And you want Jabari to take that next step. And you want Cam to take that next step. And that's how you continue to get good. You've got these young guys have got to keep taking the next step. If they don't take the next step, then we won't be much better than last year. But as long as they keep taking the next step, then anything can happen.
A lot of people excited about Reed, too.
Yeah, I mean, let's not even, talk about him. I mean, he's I'm going to tell you something. He has days in practice where he leaves everybody with their head spinning. And, he's a rookie. And if you remember all these guys as rookies, you're going to see him make mistakes. And it takes these guys to catch up with the speed of the NBA game. But you're going to see Reed have some huge games this year. One thing he can do is he can shoot, he can pass, and watch how quick his hands are. You'll see him create a lot of turnovers. He's a lot like Amen and Tari, where you see deflections, where he might not even necessarily get the steal, but he's the guy that deflected it where somebody else gets it. He's going to be a great player and become that shooter that we want him to be.
Mm-hmm. Tillman Fertitta with us here on ESPN 97.5 and 92.5. I know you're really excited about the new facility. Why is it a difference maker? What you put a lot of money into that thing, and it was well designed, and it's going to. What is the difference maker with that thing?
Well, it's just a place where the players want to train, and before they used to have to use the facility at the Toyota Center, where there's a second court that most fans don't even realize. It's kind of below the ground that you go and you work in, and it's hard to get in and out. And you know, I have flew in and last I guess it was last Friday night. I was somewhere, and the heliport for us is right there next to the training center, and Tori Eason was in there, had been shooting baskets from like 9:30 to 11:30 at night. Okay, they wouldn't have done that at the Toyota Center, and that's the guys are probably spending 3 times as much time in the training center than they did before, and it's because there's places to relax, and then they go practice some more, and they just love it. It's kind of like a big home for them, and you know, any edge that you can get, just like doing the 767 a few years ago for them, we want any edge that we can get for our team.
Tillman Fertitta, we'll let you go. We know you're busy. We really appreciate your time here. Has it affected? Have we seen the ticket sales? Do we see the fan base excited, and especially with their wallets right now?
Yeah, absolutely. You know, ticket sales are already up like 12 to 14% this year, and the fans are getting really back into NBA basketball in Houston. But I have to, you know, give our fans a lot of credit that, you know, even those previous years, you never walked into the Toyota Center and didn't see it, you know, near capacity. We always have had a good crowd, even the last few years, and you never saw rows and rows of empty seats. And I appreciate the Houston fans, and it truly is. We're here to play for the fans, and we want everybody to come out and support them. There's nothing like a loud a fan base when you're in somebody's home arena. I know we get it from certain teams, and we want our fan base to be. We want the Toyota Center full, and we want our fans to be as loud as they can be. So, thank you, everybody out there. We appreciate you.
I know this. We're as excited as we've been in a long time for this basketball team, and looking forward to the start tonight. Thanks for joining us, man. We appreciate it. Thanks for hanging this morning, and best of luck this basketball season.
Thanks, guys. Great talking to you.
Yeah. Tillman Fertitta, right here on ESPN 97.5 and 92.5 as we get started with the 2024-2025 NBA season.